everyone, and welcome to my international interview series. I'm Rebecca Adams from RebeccaAdamsBiz.com, and today I'm talking to Kim Muench. Hi, honey, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm so excited to be here with you, basically with you.
I'm very honored and humbled, actually, because you're joining me live from Texas in America, and it's wonderful. And we haven't got another person in the series that does what you do. So I'm going to introduce your title now. So you are a certified JAI parent guide, and I can't wait to ask these questions. I'm so excited. So your website is reallifeparentguide.com. The first question is, how did you come to do what you do?
Okay, I became a certified parent guide by way of struggling with my own parenting. In 2008, I have 5 children, 4 boys and a girl, and my oldest son in May of 2008 called me from across the country to say, Mom, I'm in trouble. He was having issues with alcohol. He was drinking too much. He was drinking to self-medicate, and he was calling because he wanted some help. He was in college at the time. So it was a very, without going into all the details, it was 2 years of really a lot of up and down with him. And while I helped him and supported him to find his long-term sobriety, and he is more than 7 years sober at this point, I began to really think about everything from the music I was listening to, the television I was watching, the people I was socializing with, the books I was reading. It didn't happen overnight. It was over a process of time. And then really trying to understand where I had maybe dropped the ball in my parenting, not to blame or shame myself ever, but just to learn, because I had 4 other kids and I wanted to have a better relationship with all of them. So I came upon a series of supportive books, and then I eventually came to the JAI Institute for Parenting in Los Angeles and took their course, and really I service a very particular niche of people. The population that I serve are parents of adolescents. So adolescents are age 10 to 25. So, and all of my children are between those ages at this point. And so, well, no, actually I have one that's older than that. But what I'm saying is I really think there's a lack of support and encouragement for parents of tweens and teens and young adults. And so I'm filling that niche because I'm going through it and I've learned a lot about it and I want to help others with it.
You're absolutely wonderful as well, because the thing is, a lot of people watching are going to be parents who have, kids around those ages, and they're like, what do you do? I mean, I've got 2 teenagers, so kind of I'm in that as well. So that's why I'm waiting to hear all of this interview, because it's like, how can I be better as a parent without shouting, without thinking, with your son phoning you from all across country to say, Mom, help, everything. It's wonderful how you've taken what you were going through and your journey of you said 2.5 years, didn't you, of going through everything.
Yes.
And then become what you are now, which is a certified JAI parent guide. It's truly incredible.
Well, I feel called to do it. I feel like we go through things in our lives for a reason, and that I want to help parents before they ever get that phone call that I got, quite frankly. I mean, I really want to proactively help families have healthier relationships, with their parents, with their teens and young adults, because I think it's truly, everything starts at home and gets brought into the schools and then into the community and the world at large. And we have to start within our family connections.
Well, we've got to have a really better relationship at home. Everything's about relationships, not only with, clients and customers and things, but with our children and with our home and the hub of the house. You've got to make sure everything's okay in the house, because the ripple effect is, as you just said, on everything else, isn't it? So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
So why do you do what you do? I know part of it you've just answered. So you want to help as many parents as possible with, their kids, and making sure they don't get the phone call that you received.
Well, I'll tell you, another thing is that the world is changing in so many ways, right? And we have been trying to parent our kids the way that we were parented, and it's just not working. And so just like everything else in the world evolves, so does parenting have to, you know? One of my big mottos is parent with, not over. Especially as our kids get to the middle and high school and young adult ages, we have got to learn to pull back, allow them to fail in some extent in order to build their character and resilience, because it's in the challenges that we face. I was a teen mom. That was like a greatest challenge, the first greatest challenge I ever faced. And I really matured and had to learn a lot. And it was there that my character really, and just the ability to have strength and figure out what to do next, you know, without my parents completely bailing me out. And that's exactly what I did for my son when he was, you know, in the throes of his addiction to alcohol. Was I was there to love and support him, but not do for him what he could do for himself.
Yeah, I was laughing because I've been parent, you know, as I was, and yeah, it doesn't work. So I need you. It's like, just tell me what to do. It's just crazy. Because sometimes, and everyone might laugh, we have a saying in the UK that it's like hitting your head against a brick wall. It's like it isn't working. So, and, you know, if you keep doing what you think is going to work and it isn't working, you need to change it. So you're kind of really refreshing, coming in, giving people lots of new advice that us parents, we've never even thought of probably. And you're just like, right, you know, parent with your child, so a different outlook on everything. And then, you know, I'm sure the results that you get from your clients are really outstanding because they follow what you tell them.
Well, and the challenge is that we're so programmed as parents to believe that we're the ones full of wisdom and we're the ones that need to impart the teachings onto our children. And to a certain extent, that is the case. However, if we really take a look at what goes on in the parent-child relationship, our children can be our greatest teachers. Yes. They can, I mean, there's no question that my kids have taught me, I believe, way more than anything I've ever imparted on them. But I've allowed them to become who they're meant to be without imposing what I need them to be or want them to be into them. So it is definitely a mind shift. And I do truly feel like we've got to create this movement and change in parenting in order to have healthier relationships in the home. It just is not working with our kids to say, I'm here, you're here, because I said so. You know, we've got to work together. They're human beings that deserve respect. And, you know, if we want our children's respect, I think we need to respect them as well. And because we are the adults, it has to start with us. That's just the way, you know, I feel about it.
It is key. It's very powerful what you're saying, because now I'm thinking about the way that I parent. I've got 2 children, one's got special needs, so the way I parent him has got to be different than the way I parent my daughter, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it is difficult. So yeah, and now, as you said, the world's changing. We have social media now. All these kids are social media, you know, savvy and everything. And yeah, the way that we don't know everything anymore, do we? The kids are actually teaching us so much about their world and what goes on in their life and everything. So
right. And I know in the United States, there's a lot of fear with parents about social media and how much time is spent and what they're getting access to and what they're putting out there. There's so much fear around that. And we have to come from a place of love with our kids in this area. We're parenting them without ever having been raised in the digital age. So of course it's going to scare us. But I use social media with my kids as a way to kind of explore, never to track them, never to, you know, come from a place of power, but look through their Instagram and say, you know, just what are you seeing? And let's talk about that, just as a way of making discussion with them.
So it's more about communicating with them more rather than kind of dictating to them.
Absolutely. There's no question. And at this point, so my kids at this point, I have 2 that are home. One is middle school, 7th grade, and the other one is 9th grade. They're boy and girl. And then I have 3 that are out and independent. So, I have watched social media go through, my 30-year-old, my 24-year-old, my 19-year-old, and how it's affected them in different ways. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, I love it. And you've made quite a point, because we always say back in the day we weren't raised with the internet and social media, but then as we parent, we actually forget that we weren't. So it's kind of, we do have to, you've opened my eyes just with answering those 2 questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you mentioned about books before. So what is the one book you'd recommend, and why?
The one book I would recommend on parenting, and why? Oh, there's so many good books out there, but the one that really changed my life was written by a Dr. Shefali Sabari in 2012. It's called The Conscious Parent. And I do believe that she's started an amazing movement. She's known as Oprah's go-to parenting expert. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her in person. And I will say that I believe that she is the conduit for change in this manner, this movement of kind of authoritative or, power parenting over into a more hand-in-hand approach, and really learning from our children. So The Conscious Parent by Dr. Shefali Sabari would be my number 1 parenting pick.
I'm smiling because I'm going to write that down and I'm going to have a look.
Okay, all right.
Anything, honestly. It's there will be lots of parents watching this, so you are going to be a wealth of information. So it's truly wonderful. So the next question is, share a defining moment in your life and how it impacted you.
Let's see. I would say I refer to the fact that I was a teen mom. And I think that my dad was especially unhappy with the fact that I was 18 and pregnant, and I was in college at the time. And he did not feel I was equipped to become a single mom, essentially. And I really tried to reconcile in my mind giving the baby up for adoption, because I knew my family wanted that, and I was 18 and I wasn't 100% sure that I could effectively parent at that young age. However, every time I tried to reconcile, that idea of giving the baby up, I literally would cry, and it just wasn't happening for me. So bottom line, I made the decision to go against my family's wishes and to figure out a way to be a single parent at the age of 18. And it was, really a challenge, but again, I think was the catalyst for me to become who I am today. And I think all of us grow in times of challenge, and that was for sure a moment for me when growth happened, and all the times through when he was little and whatnot. And even again, I think a rebirth of going through the addiction with him was again a recommitment to grow.
Yeah. So yeah, and you mentioned that he's 30 now.
Yeah, he's 30. It makes me feel old.
Certainly don't look it. However, how has he grown up, with you as a single mom and everything? Was it, I'm not going to say it was easy.
So although I didn't marry my son's father, we were together the first couple of years. It was an abusive, emotionally and physical relationship. I moved on from the relationship, but as a result, it meant my son went between 2 very different households. Okay. I eventually married and had 4 kids, and his dad eventually married but had no other children. So I think his having to go between 2 houses that were very different meant for him, that he never really felt 100% himself, accepted or, in either place. Yeah. I can't remember go ahead.
If you don't mind me asking, a personal question, did your family come round in the end about the idea about you being a single parent at 18? Were they okay with it in the end, or?
Yes, actually, my mom was a big help to me. She did help me find my very first apartment. I had to go on welfare. I don't know if you have that in the UK, but I had to go on welfare and live on food stamps for a little bit until I could get a job that really supported the 2 of us. But because my mom was willing to babysit for my son during the day, I could go to work and eventually get off of welfare. So she was very supportive, always has been. And it took my dad some time. And it's interesting because it took my son some time to accept my dad as well. But they have a terrific relationship and have for a long time. And quite frankly, I have let that time in my life and that challenge with my own father, I've released that because I just don't want to hold on to things that don't serve me.
Yeah,
so
that would be negative, but it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic that it all worked out. It's brilliant, and I like how your son's got a really good relationship with him as well now. So
yes, he does.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your role in the world?
What is my role in the world? My role in the world is to help others who are, this is not just me trying to come up with the idea of changing the mindset of the way we parent, but I do want to be an integral force in that. And so whatever that means, whether it's doing an interview internationally with you, like this is a terrific avenue to do that, or I do a lot of local speaking and radio shows and things like that. Really, my job, my role in this is to help us create more functional, healthy families by teaching about parenting with instead of over our children. That is my role.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So your website is reallifeparentguide.com. When people come over to your website, Kim, what can they expect from you? I know obviously they can contact you on there, but what is on your website, and what do you offer on there?
Okay, I talk about my different coaching services. My personal story is in there, and then I also write a blog. And I've got several pieces on, probably 25 or 30 pieces on parenting adolescents. So you can read, you can follow the blog, you can learn about my coaching services. I can coach anywhere, anyone, anywhere. It is not something that has to be face-to-face. I do a lot of this type of thing where, Skype or that type of thing. And you don't have to leave your home to get the help that you need with your kids. So it's a beautiful thing.
So you're international, global, and virtual as well. So it's really great.
Absolutely.
So you said about local speaking. Do you run workshops that parents can go to, or?
I do. I actually am doing a series of 4 workshops through our school district. The PTA has sponsored an event that I'm part of where parents and teens come together on a Saturday morning, and we have a panel discussion, and then they break into small groups and they come listen to different topics that we talk about. We just finished one on tapping into your inner wisdom and self-care. I think that's one of the things that really is a challenge for parents in the United States and probably everywhere, is that we don't take care of ourselves. We're so wanting to get our kids, have our kids be successful by putting them in the right academics and the sports and the everything else, and we don't take good care of ourselves in the process of it. And what I think the reason that relationships within the home suffer is because when we don't take care of ourselves, we don't have what we need to give them. Yeah. And as a result, we're tired, we're frustrated, we're inconsistent with our, I don't want to say rules in parenting, but there have to be some boundaries in parenting, and we're inconsistent because we're tired and sometimes we just give up and whatever. But if we take good care of ourselves, we are much more consistent and much more present with our children as they go through challenges.
I love it. Can I ask, what's the feedback from both parents and children that attend those workshops? What's the feedback from them?
I think that we've only had one, and we're in a series of 4, so we're doing them bi-monthly during the school year. So far, we've gotten really good feedback. After the first one, what we do is we offer people coffee and donuts to come. That kind of brings them in the door, feed people on a Saturday morning. And then, really have different topics than even what our school district does. Like we're in Red Ribbon Week, so there's drug awareness going on in the schools this week. Yeah. And our schools will do evening programs and stuff, but we wanted to do something, the other 2 women and I that are doing this wanted to offer something to the community to come with their kids. The parents come with their kids, and just a little bit different, not just drug education, but the next topic for us is called Oops, I Messed Up, Now What? Oops, I messed up, now what? So we're going to handle that from a child's perspective, because we have a lot of anxiety and depression within our teens here because they're just so driven and they have internal pressure. And then as parents, how do we handle it when our children mess up, and also when we mess up, because sometimes parents, we're not perfect, we do mess up. So how do we, reconcile with our children when we've messed up, because it does happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love all your work that you're doing. It's so refreshing, as I said. So wonderful to see someone step up and see an issue that is worldwide. It's a worldwide issue, and kids are always going to be born. So there's more kids and more
right.
Going into
That's right.
It's just truly incredible the work that you're doing. I love your vision. I love everything about what you do, and I'm truly blessed that you've said yes to this interview, Kim. Honestly, it's
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Kim's website again is reallifeparentguide.com, and thank you so much, Kim, for joining us on this interview. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. Thank you so much again for the opportunity and for what you're doing to expose not only myself, but 29 other amazing people in areas that they're living passion and with purpose. And I think it's wonderful that you're doing that as well. So thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. For everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us. All Kim's links will be below the video, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.